Hello everyone, welcome to this special Sunday Family Arts. My name is Austin Kwasinski, and today, it's Father's Day today. Happy Father's Day everybody, to all the dads out there. Today we're going to be making some special Father's Day cards. These ones are going to be really great because they're going to be custom made and really tailored to you guys and how you choose to make them. And also you can leave a little space to add a nice little message inside and open up and put your own messages or whatever you want to do. You can take cardboard, or not cardboard, sorry, construction paper and put in little notes and anything like that. So I'm going to show you how to do this, guys, today. They're really easy and simple to do, but we're going to need a few things. So we're going to need a ruler because we're going to be doing a little bit of measuring to measure out some of the shapes. We're going to do a Sharpie just to kind of outline stuff. You don't have to, but I kind of like the look of it. So we're going to go with that today. Glue stick to glue everything down. Scissors are going to be very important. And then also a pencil. Let me grab one. I might just use a pen instead. Alrighty. So what we're going to need is we're going to need a piece of paper. This is a nice cardstock paper. This is going to be 8 by 11, which will be really nice. So what's the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just fold this in half to get this nice card shape like this, right? Something like that. It should be that length, so you just want to kind of fold that down on itself like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to measure out some measurements here. So what I like to do is I like to measure out, and you can even see on this example here, if I measure out, that's about 1 inch from the top. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do 1 inch from the top. You can do this in pencil. Probably be better, but I'm just going to make a little bit of a mark so I can see that. Something around there, and that should be good. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cut along this line here. I'm going to do that on both sides, just like so. I'm just going to cut until it stops right around there. And then on the other side, cuts right around there. And then what we're going to eventually do is we're going to want to make sure that we can fold this in on itself. But if we actually look closer, as you can see, we cut onto the other side as well. So what we're going to do is we actually don't need this section of it. So let's actually just cut it out and get rid of it. Like so. Just like that. And then what we can do, try to get it as straight as possible. You can use your ruler to measure it out if need be. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it out just like so. So now we have the card shape, but then we also have this spot right here. And so if this is not wide enough, you can cut a little bit more. But essentially what you want to be able to do is to fold these pieces on itself just to make a collar of a shirt. As you can see here, I'm just lining it up with the corners. They line up like so. So I think something like that will definitely work and look good for our card. So now the next part of it is actually creating the tie. And for me personally, I like to kind of switch it up. Ties are usually funky and they have all these crazy designs. So I actually got this paper here that is a little bit patterned. It's got a bunch of, designs and stuff like that. And I actually really like the way it looks. So I'm going to go with that one. And we're going to be doing a little bit of measuring. So I'm going to pull out a pencil really quick, just so we can measure it out and go from there. So I already did one of the measurements here. So I just want to show you guys, this measurement here is going to be about 2 centimeters. And then what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to keep everything lining up. So this one goes to 4 centimeters, and that's what makes that line kind of stretch out like that. The length from here to the bottom is going to be 13 centimeters. And then from this side to this side would be 6. And then just meeting in the middle there. So this is all kind of measured out, but if you want to make a big tie, if you want to make a smaller tie, you could even do a bow tie. This is totally up to you, but these are the measurements that I found that worked for me. So if you're not quite sure, what I can do is I can just redraw this and show you what I mean by the measurements here and how to do it. So if we're starting brand new, what we'll do is we'll take our ruler. And I chose centimeters for my measurements, but I'm going to do, what's it called? Let's pick maybe in between here. So let's do two centimeters from here. This is gonna be our middle part, right? And then so if we line it up with the, what's it called? The middle of that, which will be 1 centimeters, that's gonna be the middle of our tie. So we could even just do a really light line, and we could even do it all the way down. So that's gonna be, I think the middle of the line went right across that, what's it called? The pink edge there. So I will use that as a basis. And then so now, what's it called? You could even measure the length of this. Don't need to. It's about 3 centimeters. So I'll measure that out that way. And this is going to be about 4 centimeters across. So I'm just going to make a little line like that. And this is how to get a perfect looking tie every time. So it doesn't need to be exact like this, but just for you at home, this is just an easy way to keep it consistent and looking good. So we said about what, 13 centimeters from here? If we look at that, yeah, it's about 13.5. So what we'll do is we'll do a marker for 13.5 right there. Perfect. And we'll just do a straight line across, and this is going to be 6 centimeters across, like so. All right, so now that we have that line, what we can do is connect this point right here to the bottom point, like so. Connect that line down, and then same thing for this one. Connect it down. And again, this is a specific measurement of the tie that I chose to do. If you want to do a larger tie, smaller tie, that's totally up to you. It's definitely your choice. This is your card, so explore with creativity, see what works for you, and go from there. All right, so I did 2 centimeters from there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect to that center point, like so. And we have a pretty good looking tie in the basis, so we could either choose to do this one, or we could choose to do this one. I'm kind of looking at it, this one's kind of like down the middle, so I might actually choose this one. This one's got a little bit of a variety of colors, so I might go for that one. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get out our scissors and we're going to cut out. If you're not unsure of the size, you can leave a little bit at the top like I'm doing right now. So I'm not quite cutting that yet because we want to make sure that this tie fits correctly within our card. And hopefully you guys can see that. Let's see if the camera will focus. Oh my goodness. It's so blurry. Doesn't want to focus for some reason. There you go. I don't know why it was glitching out like that. All right. So now that we're focused and we can actually see where I'm cutting, which is very important. There you go. We just had to do a little camera adjustments here and there. I think it was trying to pick up the black background, but our colors were too bright and got confused. All right, so we're just gonna cut the very edge here, like so. And then we're gonna move on to this one. All right, and then all the way down here. And then just cutting this way here, cool. All right, so we have a pretty good looking tie. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this stuff over because we don't need it right now. And let's see how this fits along our page. Ah, perfect. So I gave myself a little extra room just to kind of see. And you know what? We could even move it up a little bit too, right? I think something like that looks pretty good, I think, for our card. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mark it. So I'm going to put a little dot right here. We get? Yes, perfect. And then I'm going to draw that line. And now I know that it's safe to cut in this spot because it's going to look really good once it's on our card. And that's what's kind of nice about leaving a little bit of room for the top, because now we have a good understanding of how this final image is going to look. All right. So this is a personal preference. For what I did for the example card, I actually only glued this part down. And I didn't actually glue this because we want to be able to open it up, right? So that was a personal preference. If you want to glue it down and just have a nice looking card, you can totally do that. But I'm just going to glue down this part and then go from there. So let's do that now, shall we? I'll take out my glue stick. And what's really nice is that we already have the line kind of here. So we don't need to guess on kind of where to put it. We'll move this a little bit inwards, I think. Make it look a little bit better. So we'll go from there. We will get the glue. Like so. And glue it down on that line. Make sure it is in the center. And just press down firmly like so. I think that looks pretty good. All right. So now we got a really funky looking tie, which I really am quite a fan of. I'm just gonna erase out this line to the best of my ability here. All right. Perfect. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm also gonna glue down these guys here, because we are done with the actual placement of that. So these can find a home next to the tie as well. All right. I'm just going to fold that in, make sure that it's covering both ends. That looks pretty good to me. And that's what's really fun about using the colored paper, just because it kind of adds a little bit of variety to it instead of just a solid color. So now we got this tie that actually flips up. And what I'm going to do, you see that line that I was racing there? I might actually make a fold right along that line like so. And this is where we're going to fold that tie up and have a hidden message inside. And what's really cool about this is that since we already have the tie shape, I'm going to grab a spare piece of paper like this, and then I'm just actually going to use this tie as a template, which will be really nice. So let's put it here. That's probably where our line is going to be. And what I'm going to do, there you go. So I'm going to hold it down, make sure we're pressing hard down because we don't want it coming up on us. There we go. At the bottom. And I'm going to do the same for the other side. Hopefully you guys can see that. Press down as hard as you can. And then on the bottom here too. Perfect. Now that we got that shape, we can cut that out and glue it on the bottom. Hopefully you guys can see that. Like so. And there you go. This is why I liked this size tie, because I tested it out and I know that it works with this type of paper and this size of paper. But again, I encourage you to experiment with it, try new things, see what works for you, and go from there. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put it at the bottom here, and just where that fold is, we want to make sure that we glue this guy down like so. So we can flip this over. Make sure we get all sides covered with this glue here. Perfect. And just press firmly down like that. Make sure it's all going to be covered. And if you have spots like this, you know, that are a little bit up a bit, what we can do is we can just kind of cut, lift it up a little bit, and we can cut along those lines. We can cut it a little bit smaller than it actually is, like so. Take that piece off, and then on the next one, we'll take this piece off, just to adjust it a little bit. And then once we're finally happy with it, that looks pretty good to me. I'm just gonna re-glue and place this guy down. Now what's great about this is that you can put whatever message you want on it. You can get really creative. It could be a secret message, it could be an inside joke, anything like that. Also, what I'm noticing about it is that this looks great, but I think I like the way this one pops a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bit of Sharpie on top of it, just to make it stand out a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully go over my edges and line it up with my Sharpie. Like so, just so we can actually see it as a viewer, so it pops out a little bit more than it does. Like so. And hopefully there you go. Down the line like that. Definitely like, it's almost like kind of like a comic booky. Reminds me of kind of like inking a little bit. So I definitely like this aesthetic. So like so. All right, so we got the top there. Now you can choose to do on top of the tie that you already did. That'll probably be better, or you could do on the side. I think for this one I did the side, but you can definitely choose to do the top. So let's go ahead and do that now. And what I'm doing is just running my hand along, trying to get it as close as I can to the edge without going over. We can also put a line in here too, because that's where the knot is going to be. Again, same thing, I'm just gonna go along the edge as carefully as I can. I might even flip this a little bit too, just so I have a little bit more control of where my line is going. All right, that's looking pretty good to me. And then let's go the bottom here. And we have one more line. Perfect. I think that's looking awesome so far. So we have those two lines here, and then at the bottom, this kind of looks a little bit plain. As you can see, it is going through a little bit. This one it didn't, because we did it on the outside. So it's totally up to you which one you choose to go for. But I think essentially what we're going to do is put another line on this guy here. So just keep in mind, if you're doing Sharpie, that will tend to happen. There you go. Just putting another border along this guy. Just like that. Perfect. All right, that's looking good so far. So we have a full thing. Now if I flip it over, if your paper is lighter, sometimes the marker might actually bleed through. And because we did it on the paper that it didn't, I think for this one I did. So what I essentially decided to do, I decided to add a little bit of space to kind of write on and put your messages on. And I think it looks aesthetically a little bit nicer. So what I might do is I might grab some piece of paper and do that. So I can measure this out like so. This will probably be a better frame of reference. So this is about 7.5 inches from this edge, and let's see what this one is. And then this one is about 5.5. So if we do 7 by 5, that should fit really nicely in there, just leaving a little bit of space in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some extra piece of paper, and I'm going to measure out 7 by 5 really quickly. So let's move a few things. Hopefully that's clear enough to see. And then let's do 7 by 5. 7 in the length. We'll do a line. Length there, and then 5 coming across. Like so. Let's draw that line down. Perfect. Keep that as straight as you can, and then we'll cut that out to see what that looks like. I'm just going a little bit further along the edges here. Perfect. Hopefully, you see me cutting a layer a little bit. All right, so let's actually measure that out and see. Oh, that looks pretty good. It could be a little bit straighter, but I think for this instance, it's gonna work for sure. All right, so let's get out a glue stick. Can glue that down. All right. So now that's nice and sticky. What we can do is we can make sure we measure it out, make sure it has a nice little border around, and then press firmly down. That looks pretty good. And we'll do that one more time for the other end here. Like so. And again, remember the measurement, 7 by 5 inches we are measuring this time. So 7 in the length. Try to get that as straight as possible. And then 5 coming the width here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Along that line. All right, so let's get cutting on that one. All right, that should look good. Let's see how that looks on our page. Perfect, I think that will work. All right. So let's get out that glue stick one more time. Glue out the bottoms here. There we go. Make sure that's nice and covered. And then what we're gonna do is place it. Make sure that is forming a nice border and it's lining up with our other one. That looks pretty good to me. Just eyeballing it. And then again, I like to go over it with marker, the outside edges, so I'm going to try to be as straight as possible with this. Just going along those lines. You could definitely measure it out like with the ruler and do a line like that. I'm just going to do it by freehand just for now. So you can definitely make it a little nicer than I am right now, but keep in mind this is an option. And what's really cool about these cards is that you know, they're really personal, so you can really fill it up with drawings. You can fill it up with little notes and stuff like that. And a lot of people really like the personal gifts that have a little bit of a handcrafted nature to them. So definitely go wild with this. Make sure that you draw or doodle whatever you want. And what's great too, you could even draw in this space before actually committing and putting it within the card. This sometimes, you know, sometimes we'll buy a card and then we write something or don't know what to say, and you know, out comes the eraser and we're doing 2 or 3 drafts. But with this, since we're making the card, we have the control, we have the power to choose what we want to put in it. All right, we're almost done here. Just lining it up like so. Again, you could probably do a neater job at this than I can currently, but I think what's important is just to get the point across that this kind of makes it look a little bit not blending in with the background a bit, kind of popped off the page, which is I kind of like. So again, we could even do like corners like this, right? And we can get out the markers and the felts and kind of go for it. And then in the middle, happy Father's Day. And then love your name. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, get out the felts, get out the markers and stuff. Color these guys up. Really put your own messages and everything like that. And we also left a little bit of room here too, so you can put your own message like this. Like so, when they open it up, they get a nice little surprise, and you can go from there. So these are the Father's Day cards, which are really special. They're handcrafted, and I'm sure if you guys try these out and give them to your loved ones, they're gonna love it. So I hope you guys learned a little bit from making these. Some of the things that I recommend: try crazy different colored paper and stuff. If you have any pattern paper that you really like or you think would look good for ties or stuff, go for it. Try to experiment, see what you come up with. You can also do buttons on the side here and stuff. You can add glitter and all sorts of things. That's what's so great about these handcrafted crafts, that it's really limitless in what you can do. So hopefully I got the creative juices flowing with this one. And until next time, guys, thank you for watching.